Hello, and welcome to KPHA's Advocacy Day Logistics, where we'll walk you through some details about our annual Advocacy Day and how you can use your voice to advocate for your profession. On the day of, you don't need to bring much, but for students and pharmacists, the most important thing you can bring is your white coat. The more white coats of the Capitol, the more of a visual impact we have. So even if you don't normally wear one at work, please wear one for Advocacy Day. For your technicians and other advocates, please wear KPhA gear or an Advocacy Day t-shirt and buttons so you're recognizable as a part of our group. This was a huge impact for us last year, and we want to make sure we have that same impact this next year. Please note you'll be walking a lot during the day, as you'll see on the next page of the map here, so please wear comfortable shoes. We understand it's February in Kansas, and it will probably be cold, so you can bring your winter coat in. There are public coat racks on the ground level. As far as a purse or bag, though, there are public lockers available, but if you don't want to use those, you will be toting that bag on your person all day, so we recommend keeping that small and light. And finally, do bring your business cards for networking with both pharmacy folks as well as the legislators you'll be interacting with. Once you're packed and ready for the day, next you have to get there. Please do note that there is still a lot of highway construction going on around Topeka, whether you're coming in from the east or the west. I-70 narrows down to one lane at several points, so please leave plenty of time for highway backups when you're planning your arrival time. If you're getting off of I-70, we recommend getting off on 8th Street. From there, it's easy to get to all of the parking options. We'll start at the beacon, marked with the blue arrow around 9th and Topeka, then enter the Capitol building on the north end of the Capitol, marked here with the yellow arrow. As far as where to park, there is a small garage under the Capitol, but it does fill up fast during session, and it's pretty small, so it's not a great option unless you're really early. We recommend either a city parking garage, marked in green on the map, where you can pay with a card on exit, or utilize one of the 10-hour meters around the Capitol complex, highlighted here in red. You'll pay for the meters using the Passport parking app, and we strongly recommend downloading it in advance to load up on your car's information and your credit card to make it much easier to navigate on the day of. Once you're parked and we've completed our morning training, you'll head to the Capitol entrance off of 8th Avenue on the north side of the building. Once you go in there, you will go through Capitol security. You'll need to place bags on the belt and people will go through the scanner. Snacks and drinks are okay to bring in, but hopefully we don't need to say this, weapons are not. This is one of our most common questions, so we do want to make sure we're sharing our agenda for the day, but please note this is tentative. This is very subject to change since as we get closer to the day of, there may be an important committee meeting or a vote on the floor that we'll want people to attend. We will plan on starting our day together at the Beacon with picking up materials and getting training in KPHA's legislative priorities and topics to be aware of. We'll have those leave behind materials ready there, as well as those talking points for the day. Once we wrap up at the Beacon, we will have those available on the first floor of the Capitol. After that, you'll head out in groups to meet with your legislators. We have a couple of different slots that legislators like to meet. Generally, it's between about 8:30 to 12 p.m. or about 1 to 3 p.m., depending on if they're senators or representatives, and avoiding their committee meetings and other obligations for the day. We'll talk about that a little bit more about what that looks like in a few slides here too. We will go ahead and invite all of our legislators to eat lunch with us in that 2-hour time slot, but please know they're more likely to come if they know you, their constituents, will be there. We strongly recommend sending them a quick email in January to invite them to have lunch with you and the rest of us. And again, note, this is a 2-hour time span. We can't serve everybody at once due to the area that we'll be in. So just keep an eye on the area. Know when your legislator might be coming down and help them at that point. But otherwise, do just spread out and navigate the Capitol for there. Generally, most things wrap up around 3 p.m., but there may be some meetings afterwards, again, depending on the legislator's schedule. So do keep an eye out for that, and we'll talk about that shortly. This is kind of like watching a football game, is that there's a lot of time waiting for some small bits of action. So please know anytime you're not in meetings or other activities, there are a couple of options for how to keep busy during the day. You're certainly welcome to network with pharmacists and lawmakers at our central location on the first floor at any point throughout the day. Lawmakers and their staff a lot of times will stop by that area wondering why there's a big group of white coats all together, which is a really great opportunity for a short chat. And many times if somebody asks staff, we'll make sure to call over pharmacists to tell their story while they're there. Students will be doing health checks. So if you're able to precept students during health checks, we'll have a sign up for that available afterwards. And that's a great opportunity to showcase what pharmacists can do. Other things we have listed on your day of agenda will be any of the relevant committee meetings that you can attend, such as Senate Public Health and Welfare or a House Insurance Committee. And then we also encourage folks to pop in and watch the Senate or the House when they're in session. Finally, if all else fails, we just encourage you to walk through the Capitol building so everybody knows that pharmacy is in the house that day, because it does generate a lot of conversation. We understand that navigating the Capitol can be overwhelming. So here's a quick guide to note. Other than the ground floor that has the lobby and the cafe, the 5 floors of the Capitol are all arranged with 4 wings, north, east, south, and west. And each room at the State House uses the same format. The first number lets you know what floor it's on. The second 2 numbers designate the room, and the letter designates the cardinal direction. If you're ever not sure which way is north, you can peek down into the rotunda in the middle, which has a compass to point you in the right direction. Stairs are the quickest way to get you from floor to floor. Again, we mentioned those comfortable shoes, but there's a lot of stairs in the Capitol, especially if you're jumping back and forth between the first floor and the third floor, and then up to the fourth, and then back down to the third. So please, there are available elevators, but give yourself plenty of time if you want to use them, because there are a lot of people using just a few elevators. To find a bathroom in the Capitol, to find an elevator, or just the next flight of stairs, walking in a circle is the best recommendation. I'm sure people eventually learn how to navigate the building, but we don't expect you to know that in the few hours that you'll be there. We will have people stationed on each level of the Capitol, so if you need directions or pointed in the right direction, just look for our pharmacy folks on each floor. We recommend taking a few minutes ahead of Advocacy Day to look up who represents you in Topeka by visiting the plural policy link in the description below and entering in your home address. Many of you may already know that person well, but if not, we do recommend hopping over to kslegislature.gov, also in the description, to look them up and learn a little bit more about the person. Once you hop to that kslegislature.gov and look up that legislator, you'll be looking at something very similar to this. Here we're checking out Senator Jeff Pittman out of District 5 in the northeast corner of our state near Leavenworth. So a few things on here is you can actually see on the map where they represent. So you can see that Leavenworth and a few other cities in there. You can also see the committees that they serve in, especially if they have any committee leadership that might be important. And then you can also see what bills that they've introduced and their voting record. You can check out where to find Senator Pittman in the Capitol. He offices out of room 124 East. Remember from the last slide, we'll find that on the first floor, East Wing. You can see the phone number from the office in case you need to reach their office assistant for the day, as well as their email. Be sure to save that for a follow-up thank you after your meeting. You can also check out what they do for a living, as well as any information about their spouse as well, if applicable. When you meet with your legislator, KPhA will be working with our lobbying group to make appointments with the legislators for you and your colleagues. Once we have an appointment for you, we'll send it to the email address you registered with, as well as share that email with the legislator and their office assistant for any changes after that initial appointment is made. Please keep an eye on your email in the days ahead of the meeting, as well as on the day of, in case they need to reach out to you to make a change. When you register, you will go ahead and enter your home address to ensure that you're paired with others in your district, but also that you'll meet with the legislator that represents you in Topeka, because that's the most important person to them versus somebody that they don't know from somewhere across the state. If needed, each group will have someone experienced with advocacy to help lead the way, but just know that your legislators want to hear from you. So the most important thing is you telling your story. The meetings will be short but important, so do have your talking points ready to roll. Once you enter their office, you'll be greeted by an office assistant who works with one or more legislators. Let them know that you're there for your, say 10 a.m. appointment, and they'll either show you back or have you hang tight. Sometimes they may need to reschedule you because something came up. And that happens, no worries. Days can change on a dime at the Capitol based on meetings running long or short, and all of us get to roll with the flow of it that day. Next, when you do sit down with the legislator, they'll probably want to know a little bit about you and your practice. Educate them about what the pharmacist, pharmacy technician, or student pharmacist does, especially if you have a unique role or interest. We all play an important role in the healthcare system, but many people may not even know pharmacists are there. After that, you can share some KPhA talking points, but use the talking points more to tell the story of why it matters to you and your practice and your community. We recommend if you're nervous, script out a few points and practice them on your friends and colleagues. Finally, after you've shared your story and answered questions, make sure you provide the legislator with the leave-behind materials prepared by KPhA. If the legislator has questions you don't know the answer to, that's totally fine. If not, actually a great thing. It provides an opportunity for another touch point with them or their office. Check in with KPHA's leadership to learn more and then share the answers in a follow-up email, or they may want to meet with you again. After that, please make sure to send them a thank you note and then also let KPhA know how your meeting went. We'll have QR codes and links on the day of to share a quick note with us after the meeting. Congrats! You're ready to tackle Advocacy Day. Don't forget to RSVP in the links below if you haven't already so we can make that appointment with you and your legislator and make sure that we have enough food for everyone. Be sure to follow KPhA on social media, especially during legislative session, and keep an eye on your inbox for advocacy alerts. You can also check out the advocacy section of our website to learn more about our legislative priorities for the year, as well as other upcoming events we have going on.